Hey guys, welcome to another movie review. Today I'm going to be talking about the Ryan Coogler film directorial debut from him. He recently did Creed for the Rocky franchise, and he's currently working on Black Panther for the Marvel Universe. But this is his directorial debut. This is Fruitvale Station. This is the film that kind of got him noticed within the film industry, and that's why he's taking on all these big projects now because of his talents from this film. And this is also the film that Sylvester Stallone saw that allowed Creed to basically get made because he kind of wasn't sure about having a spin-off to the Rocky franchise. And then when he saw how talented Ryan Coogler was with this film, that kind of let Creed getting greenlit so that way that could have gotten made. But I'm going to talk about Fruitvale Station today. That's the film I'm going to be reviewing. So that was just a little backstory about Ryan Coogler as to how I wanted to track down this film, see what his first film was, and review it for you today, let you know what I thought of it. So, in Fruitvale Station, we focus on a young man. His name is Oscar Grant III. This is based off a true story. And Oscar Grant III, he he had an uneasy time with employment. He was trying to take care of a girlfriend and a kid. They weren't married, and he was struggling to take care of them. He had troubles with his finances. So he was a pretty flawed human being, but he was a good human being. He did little random acts of kindness for people, and they were good ones. He would help people like get these big dinners ready for these people like out of town relatives that were visiting and stuff like that, and he would take care of like a stray dog and all these other things throughout the course of the film. He'll have really nice birthday celebrations for relatives and such things, and he always looks after people that he's really close to. But throughout the course of the film, something's very uneasy. We really suspect that something really awful is going to happen to this guy. Because I definitely went into this film only knowing broad details about this real event. So I knew just the vague details going in of, like, I knew something really, really bad was going to happen to this guy. What exactly was going to happen, I wasn't too sure of. And I think for the rest of the review, just in case you don't know what this real story was about, I'm going to try to keep it as broad as I can, while also trying to make the point of what exactly this film is about. But the film proceeds forward. It's New Year's Day. I think the entire film takes place like New Year's Eve, early New Year's Day. So really over the course of one day, really. And so the night goes forward, and he is on this big train celebration about to leave Oakland, because I think he lives in the Oakland area. And it just gets worse from there. Like, he gets in troubles with the wrong crowd. He gets accused of all these really violent things that people get scared of, and then the police show up, and then from there, this young man's life just becomes nothing at that point. He's just without really saying what happened, something really awful happens to him, and that's the end of Oscar Grant III. So, overall, guys, this is a very powerful film. It's very tragic. I can see why Ryan Coogler wanted to make this film, just because this young man's life was just taken so early. It's really quite difficult to explain, what exactly happened to him without seeing the film. But it is very tragic as to what happened to him. And there was huge riots and controversy about this too. They even have a brief description towards the end of the film about all those riots that happened over this event and things like that. So, very tragic story to this young man. But for my positives and negatives of the Fruitvale Station movie, one thing I think Ryan Coogler really focused on, once again, about the real event, is he really wanted to capture just how tragic it was. And I think that's something that this film does a very good job with. It's a very tragic story, just a very unfortunate, unhappy, really bad thing that happened to this young man that was just took him way too early. So he really made the point that this is a very tragic story about this young man. I also thought another thing that he did really well in this film is it has an everyday life kind of feeling to it. We really do feel like we're watching something that probably happened in Oscar Grant's the Third life pretty often, and it felt pretty everyday, like it felt like this is a routine schedule for him around this time of his life. So I liked how this film really captured that. It really felt like an everyday life kind of routine kind of feeling to it. Octavia Spencer's in the film. She plays Oscar Grant III's mother, and she's very emotionally great in this film. There's just a lot of emotion they managed to get out of her in this role that really feels like she's the mother of this person, that something really awful happened to this guy that obviously she's going to react to for good reason. So just a very strong performance from Octavia Spencer. She did a great job in this film, and I think this was about 2 years after her win from The Help, so this is pretty short after her win from that movie. So she did a great job giving another great performance in Fruitvale Station as well. I thought the leading cast overall was very good in this film. Melonie Diaz played the girlfriend. Like I said, Octavia Spencer's very good. Michael B. Jordan, who plays Oscar Grant III, is really, really good. So just the leading cast in this film was really good. Like everybody really knew who these characters were that they playing, and they really got the sense that these are really real people that really went through this situation, and whether they researched it or just put a lot of humanity into the roles, they all did a really good job making sure that these characters felt believable for this event that went down. I also thought this film, I think this is something that Ryan Coogler's is very good with in general from what I've seen of his work so far, because I think Creed did a good job of this too. He knows how to capture the environment in this film. So if this film takes place in Oakland, he'll make you feel like you're in Oakland. He'll make you feel like that you can breathe the air, that you can feel what it's like, what you can feel when you walk down a certain hallway or walk into a certain business or walk into a certain kind of neighborhood. Ryan Coogler is very good about knowing how to capture an environment in his film. Creed did this very well with Philadelphia, just like how Fruitvale Station does this with the Oakland area. He's very good with capturing that environment of where this film takes place in. There's also some absence of sound at times in this film, and towards the end of the film, that absence of sound is very powerful just because it really gives the sense that some real deep stuff is going down. There's a scene with Melonie Diaz and the daughter that is just really powerful with the absence of sound because the daughter has no idea what's going on, and this mother has to explain what happened to this guy, and it's just very, very strong. So the absence of sound is very strong in this movie. For my negatives of Fruitvale Station, because I don't think it's quite a perfect film, I do think Creed is probably Ryan Coogler's better film at the moment. We'll have to see where Black Panther takes him. For negatives, I thought there was kind of an amateur quality to the filmmaking that wasn't quite there. Um, it was amateur in a way that wasn't that good in a way because like if there was a lot of shaky cam, there was a lot of unfocused shots. There was a lot of shots that looked like maybe they were like shot on an iPhone or shot on a very low res camera. There was just a lot of amateurish qualities in this film that I wasn't quite impressed with. Whether that was intentional, whether that was kind of like a fly on the wall kind of look to this kind of movie. Some of those shaky cam shots and unfocused shots really kind of took me off guard while watching the movie at times. I thought Ryan Coogler could have done a better job really making sure that everything felt more focused in the shots. Another negative I have with the film is it's not very rewatchable. I think once most people see this film, they're probably not going to go back to it. Maybe just because it is so tragic and it is so awful what happened to this kid. It's a very well made movie, don't get me wrong. But it's not a very rewatchable film, and I think that's something that's going to hurt Fruitvale Station in the future. Is once everybody sees it the one time, they're probably not going to come back to it that much. Another negative I have with this film is I thought there was some weak supporting and minor characters. Besides like the leading cast, like Michael B. Jordan, Melonie Diaz, Octavia Spencer, Michael B. Jordan's daughter in the movie, a lot of these supporting and minor characters are pretty weak. Like they're just not very interesting. They really don't add anything to the story. There's literally one scene where Michael B. Jordan is out in his car by a beach and this guy walks in, smokes a joint with him and leaves. And that's really the only sense of character we got from that character. There's characters that like greet him in the hallways or greet him in neighborhoods, and that's all we see of them. So there's supporting characters and minor characters in this film that just don't really feel that strong, and I really wasn't invested in them. I also thought this film could have used a different opening. Not only does it be kind of ruin what happens towards the end of the film, but for those who really have no idea what they're getting into for this film, the opening is just very unusual. I can see why they use it to kind of, because there's a scene in the movie where once that scene happens, you're like, okay, well, that makes sense for why that opening was the way it was. But for those who have no idea what they're getting into in this film, they're going to watch that and be like, what did I just watch? Because it's a very low res, what really happened during this event kind of video. And they show it at the very beginning of the film. And like I said, if you have no idea what this film is about, you're going to be completely lost for that. And it's going to take all the way to the end of the film to realize what exactly that opening video was about. So I thought this film could use a different opening. I thought they could have done something that could have got me invested in this film more than it did. The opening wasn't too strong for me in this movie. Um, I'm going to give Fruitvale Station an 8 out of 10. I think it's a good film, but it's just not very rewatchable. It's very amateurish at certain moments in the filmmaking. Some of the supporting characters and minor characters are kind of weak. Could have used a different opening, but it does feel very tragic. It has an everyday feeling to it that I think is very strong. Octavia Spencer's role is very good in this movie. The leading cast is very good. Absence of sound is very strong, and it captures the environments of Oakland very, very well. So 8 out of 10. I think it's a good film. If you like to create, if you want to see kind of what Ryan Coogler offers as a filmmaker, it's not a bad way to watch a film. So, good film, not a great film. You'll probably watch it once like I did and enjoy it, but you'll probably not rewatch it again.